candidacy in New York City versus Brandon Johnson. We'll do a little bit of a comparison there because it's quite interesting. But speaking of Brandon Johnson, his Chicago is deeply in debt. They're staring down $1 billion budget hole for next year. They don't know what they're going to do with that. The pension bill that just passed in Springfield is going to also spike their pension payments and their unfunded liability. I think something like $75 billion more and hundreds of millions more per year is going to come out of the taxpayers' pocket. They are bleeding money. And that bleed, it continues now with massive payouts on a number of settlements related to police conduct. So here you go. Here's a little summary for you from CBS.
It's become one of the costliest items in the city's budget, settling lawsuits. Now it looks to be on the verge of getting much bigger.
CBS Chicago political reporter Chris Ty is here with the news breaking today that hundreds more settlements are now on the horizon.
Yeah, these numbers are jaw-dropping, Joe and Erica, and the central question is, why are they ballooning, and can the city pay them? Two questions alders tell me have no clear answer.
There's Roberto Almodovar on the verge now of a $17 million settlement with the city. He was wrongfully put away for 23 years on double murder charges, framed, he says, by disgraced former Chicago police detective Ronaldo Guevara.
It's been a rocky ride.
There's Jackie Wilson on the verge of a near $13 million settlement with the city. He was wrongfully put away for more than 30 years on a double murder charge after he says his confession was forced out of him by Police Commander John Burge by using Russian roulette tactics. These are two of the 5 cases approved for settlement Monday by the City Council Finance Committee, totaling over $35 million. The full council still needs to approve them, but the number that may loom largest, 275.
There's 275 more settlements that are on the horizon. So this isn't
275.
275 was reported today by the legal counsel.
What's behind this? A backlog of cases tied up during COVID, and some alders say a perception by plaintiffs' attorneys around Chicago that the city is quick to settle. And, of course, decades of police misconduct.
Well, what's really behind this, we're going to get some more perspective on that. Joining me is Martin Preib. He's a former Chicago detective and former spokesperson for the city's police union. He also wrote the book Crooked City, which talks about this very topic, and he has a Substack by the same name. Martin, thank you so much for joining me tonight on The Real Story.
Oh, great to be here, G.
Yeah, so, I mean, on top of that, what CBS, there's another thing that came out, and I picked this up from Chicago Contrarian's X account, and they wrote out on the $3 million payout that just happened. Today, 32 Gullible aldermen voted to pay $3 million to a family member of a man who was injured during a 2018 police chase in Brighton Park. We've seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. CPD spots a man dealing drugs. Police announce their office loud and clear and order the dealer to stop. The man flees. The man defies lawful orders to stop. CPD pursues. The man continues to ignore lawful orders to stop. CPD repeats lawful orders to stop. The man keeps ignoring lawful CPD orders to stop. The man is accidentally struck by a CPD vehicle. CPD recovered a gun and drugs. Aldermen reward criminal behavior, dealing UUW with a $3 million giveaway anyway.
Yes.
Is that what's happening? I mean, the crooks are getting paid off.
Yeah, it's the biggest scam in the country. This police misconduct scam. There's so much horrible corruption, and what you just played by CBS. I mean, CBS is just such a worthless news outlet, and they're in the back pocket of these attorneys who are raking in millions of dollars. But what this really is this police misconduct is an industry that funnels the radical left, which they learned in the late 60s and early 70s that when you criminalize the police, there's all kinds of benefits for the radical left, not the least of which is filling their coffers. And this is what they've been doing for Chicago's the ground zero for this. Mm-hmm. And It's beyond a travesty. It's a perversity. It's an obscenity. There's some bad cops, no doubt about it. There's some crooked cops, but the corruption as far as institution goes, the media in Chicago, the radical left, the city council, I believe they're all 10 times more corrupt than the police officers. I don't buy that Jackie Wilson was abused. I've studied that case for 20 years. The way he got out of prison and found his freedom is just one of the most shocking stories. He was tried twice and convicted twice for his role in the vicious, brutal, disgusting execution of 2 police officers in a month-long period in Chicago when 5 officers were gunned down, 4 of them fatally. Now, his brother, when he was arrested and after he was arrested, he was abused. The question is, did Burge and his men do it, or did the guys who transported him to the area? The cops were very distraught over this couple of months in Chicago when it just seemed like they were getting gunned down left and right. Mm-hmm. That's an issue that lingers, but I don't think Jackie Wilson was abused. I don't think he should have got out of freedom. I don't think he's innocent. And I think that the city council pretty much just told every Chicago police officer to go straight to hell.
Yeah,
by giving them this money. I mean, the cops are furious over these settlements. They're disgusted. The morale is gone. A lot of times they go after really good cops. Some of the best cops in the city have been turned into these villains, and they've city settled well over $1 billion on these cases. And it's sickening, and Chicago's ground zero for it. And CBS won't tell the truth about it, and neither will the other news outlets. So, they're just going to turn Chicago into just the worst hellhole in the country. That's where we're all headed.
Well, it does feel like we have activists, lawyers here as well, both at Northwestern that keep doing their Innocence Project, which has actually proven to have its own holes in some of the cases that they have done, and they've had actual criminals released, and they shouldn't have been. So, I mean, that's a problem. So you have them sitting up there. Then you've got, the trial lawyers who are looking to make a buck, and so they'll make a buck off of this. And then you actually do have some cops that behave poorly, and some of that is behind CPD at this point. So are these 275, are they lingering cases from decades ago that now are just coming up for settlement now, or are these more recent cases?
Many of them are the old ones. He talked about the Guevara cases. I think of the Guevara cases I've looked at, they're a joke.
They're a joke too? Okay.
They're just an absolute joke. One of them was these 2 guys stabbed a couple to death and kidnapped their children, and those guys got out, and they're on their way to becoming millionaires. But no, many of them are older cases, and they've been lingering. The city attorneys, it's not just the settlements that cost taxpayers a lot of money, but the city attorneys who supposedly represent the detectives in these cases, they drag them on for years. And right. Then when it comes close and the cops are all excited that they're going to go to trial and they're going to fight them, they suddenly they come up with what I think are some of the most pathetic excuses not to go to trial. But you have to understand things. One thing the radical left achieved in Chicago was a lot of detectives don't want to testify, especially when you had Kimberly Fox in office, because even if they tell the truth, the Fox and these radicals will claim that they're liars, that they were lying about it, and they will become they'll get charged with the crime themselves. So their attorneys a long time ago said, you know what, these waters are so dangerous, you should plead the fifth. So a lot of the cops pled the fifth, and you put a cop in front of a jury who's pleading the fifth, it's hard to win that case. But the truth is these cops are aching to tell the story. And many of the cops have come forward and said, we will testify, and they have testified, and the city has still settled on it. And the aldermen who vote for these cases, they don't do any research into them. They don't even read the complaints. They don't look at the evidence. They don't spend a couple of days, figuring out. If you read these complaints and the evidence in the federal courts, it doesn't take long for you to go, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense.
But who's giving them such large payouts? Who's giving them such large payouts? Well, first of all, I mean, the Jackie Wilson case, double murder. And you say, no, he committed the double murder. That's like solid. He should not have received a payout.
No, I don't think he should have got. He should never have got out of prison.
Yeah, he shouldn't have got out of prison at all. So are the judges making a mistake here too?
Yeah, well, the judges, it's not just the cops who are intimidated by this movement. It's the judges, the prosecutors. Fox fired a bunch of her best prosecutors in allegiance with this movement. It's such a monstrous, huge world that's never been addressed. And this is such a major failing of the Republicans in Illinois and the conservative movement in general. I mean, they just won't get their hands a little bit dirty and get in the game and figure out what's going on. And
they're afraid of the movement too. Hey, Martin Preib, we've got to go, but I encourage people to read your Substack, Crooked City, and we'll take it from there. We'll have you back on with more follow-up as this continues. This is The Real Story with Jeannie Ives. Thanks a lot, Martin.
Thank you, Jean.
You bet.